Welcome back. You're watching a brand new show here on SSP TV, Ask the Audiologist. I love the name of our show, Ask the Audiologist with Dr. Shea DeNoia, and we want to thank everyone who's been watching us in the greater Hazleton area, in the greater Pottsville area. You're even famous now with people asking for your autograph.
That has happened a couple of times. Yes, I signed a few business cards, which has caught me off guard, but I am enjoying the experience and just getting my name out there.
Very good, very good. So it's summertime, and we're going to talk about things happening in the summer that it can affect our hearing.
Correct. Not all sounds have to be damaging to our hearing, but there's summer concerts, fireworks are coming up, just even little sounds that you wouldn't think of we're going to talk about and just explain how it could lead to damaged hearing.
Okay. So when you talk about the sounds, what is a normal range of sound for someone to think, like if I was yelling, is that a dangerous sound for ears or certain ears, or explain the levels of hearing?
Question. So hearing is measured in what's called decibels. So that's the like the sound unit that goes with it. 60 decibels is considered like average conversational speech. And it also goes by how long you're listening to it. So if somebody screams or a car alarm goes off, that's not necessarily damaging. It's loud, but after continual use of hearing that sound, that's when you start to worry. So like think about a concert. Loud, continuous noises over and over again. Or even you brought up a good point today when you said my Apple Watch always goes off when you're drying your hair. So yeah, over time, every day that you do that, that can start breaking down the mechanisms in your ear. So what we hear with are just tiny hair cells. So once they get sheared off or like broken, we can't replace them. So that's why it's so important to protect what we have.
Okay, so when you talk about music, a concert over time can affect your ears.
Yes.
What about if, I know with my kids, especially my son, I could hear his music as he pulls into the driveway because he has his music so loud in his car. So could that be harmful?
Definitely. Even think of like when you're saying it's so loud, just think of how long and how repetitive that noise is and how it just keeps hammering on those hair cells, and after a while they start to break down. So yeah, definitely. Also, I've seen like a lot of truck drivers who will say my left ear is experiencing some damage, or I can't hear as well out of it because of that road noise. Just constant noise over and over in that ear is damaging. Okay. So our ears are just very sensitive.
Yeah, you have here examples of noises that are loud, gunshots and explosions. I didn't even think of gunshots if you go to a range or you work with a gun.
Noises. Yeah, that's even more damaging. So anything sudden like that, explosions, kids like to play around with fireworks, firecrackers, that can be damaging. But guns are one of the most important noises that we want to protect from. So even if you're going to the target range and you're just shooting, you definitely want to wear some sort of ear protection, because a sudden blast like that is so loud and so startling that our mechanism in our ear that protects for loud sounds doesn't really have time to adjust to that, and it misses it, and then you have permanent damage.
So the key is to keep your hearing and protect your hearing as long as possible, because once you lose it, you can't get it back naturally.
No, hearing aids would be the next solution. So even think there's some common sounds out there. Like I've fitted people with hearing aids, and then they're wearing those hearing aids when they're cutting the grass or using the leaf blower, which is extremely loud. You wouldn't think it, but they're very, very noisy. Weed whackers, trimmers, anything like that, any lawn care, I always say take the hearing aids out, and even if you have good hearing, put some muffs on. And I'm going to show examples of those eventually too. There's also just motorcycles can be loud, and anything that you think that just is uncomfortable, you want to protect your ears.
If you work in construction, I know.
Correct.
Even if I'm on the interstate and they have signs up that PennDOT is working, or you're in a construction area, when you pass there, it's so loud, and your windows are up. So I could just imagine what these workers
8
can
hours with a jackhammer, or just the excavators or anything going on, definitely damaging. And they've become a lot better because OSHA's involved now. So factory work or construction has become more regulated. So I actually do hearing tests for, there's some miners and some construction workers that I test. And it's been a lot better over the years because they're required to wear some form of hearing protection now, which is really beneficial for everybody.
So in the workforce, OSHA is really stepping up and having the guidelines, but like you said, a hair dryer, which my goodness, I mean, I use a hair dryer every day. So you use a hair dryer on your hair, or like you said, a leaf blower, or things around the house that you use, or listen to music. These are things that we do continuously that can affect the quality of our hearing.
Correct. And even now, like, we all walk around with AirPods or some form of personal listening devices. So on your phone, they're pretty good with telling you like loud noise exposure now. So just be cognizant of that. I'm not saying you need to walk around and shelter yourself from hearing sounds, but over and over and over again, that repetitive motion of listening to loud noises is something you want to pay attention to.
If you are going to a concert or you're working outside just in your yard, what are some things that people can use to protect their ears?
These are the most common. These are what everybody's familiar with. They come in all different colors. You see a lot of orange ones or lime green. These are one size fits all, so everybody can really just grab these at the store. They're very inexpensive and put them in and then just, you know, kind of toss them after a use or two. A step above that, these are custom ones, so I can actually make these, and these last years. I've had these for several years. You can have them with or without a cord, and I like to take these to a concert. If you know you're going to be like up close to the music and you're going to be there for a couple hours, these are nice, and you don't have to get them red. You can get them any color you want, skin color, clear, and these will last you. I actually take an impression with putty and they form right to your ear, so we can get those made.
That's neat. I never even heard of that.
Yeah, they're custom.
Okay,
ones.
so you can get custom, what were these
ear
called?
protection.
Ear protection. And this is just to protect the hearing that you have.
Correct,
So this isn't if you have hearing loss, this is if you want to protect.
Yeah, and you can use these, we can get these without the cords and have them just a solid plug, and you can wear them as swim plugs too. So they're nice for kids who, you know, you're fighting with trying to get them to wear something. And the reason kids would wear these for swimming is because they have the PE tubes in their ears. So think if they had a lot of ear infections or just blocked ears, they get the tubes, but then you can't get water in them. So even something as giving them a shower or a bath, you want to protect that, just pop these in, and you can make them fun. You can make them glitter colored, so it's a nice option. Another option similar to these are just the putty. So you've probably seen these. They're just what swimmers would wear, but you can use these as an ear protection too. And they give you a whole option. I think they were like $5, so pretty inexpensive. And then the other option, which is nice too, are just the whole muff. So they go completely over the ear and they give you the most sound attenuation. So that's blocking the sound the most.
Okay, so out of all of these, would you recommend these or the molds?
These are the strongest. These are definitely, and they're fairly inexpensive. I think these were around $15 just off of Amazon, but they block the most sound, followed by these, but these are more of an investment. And then you'd probably want to do the putty because you can shape into the canal, and then followed by these, but I'm not saying these don't work.
Right.
So just whatever you can get your hands on at the moment is the best.
Just protect your hearing.
Protect your hearing, correct.
Okay, so when we come back, tinnitus, right?
Yes. There's two ways to say it. We'll talk about all of that and what it is. So yes.
Stay with us. You're watching Ask the Audiologist here on SSP TV. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching SSP TV and you are watching our show called Ask the Audiologist, all about your hearing, of course. And Ambrose Hearing is located in the Laurel Mall, Hazleton, and also she has a office in Pottsville, so you can visit either location, which is nice, right? Very conveniently located here in the Laurel Mall for the parking, and Pottsville for all of your Skull County patients, so that's nice.
It's been really nice having the two locations. Even some of the patients who, you know, started going to Pottsville office have switched up to here because they're a little bit closer and it's much easier to access. So the parking makes it very nice.
I know we're talking about the safety of your hearing,
Correct.
but first tell everyone about why come to Ambrose Hearing, because I know that when I call here, I'm getting you.
Oh,
I'm getting the
yes.
actual doctor.
Yes, that's pretty unique. It's just me. So
Me, myself,
anytime you
and I.
call, I run it all. So if you have a question, I always tell my patients, even if I just fitted you with hearing aids and you get home and you're confused, just call me up. I know exactly what we were speaking about. We'll just continue that conversation. It's just a very one-on-one experience, and also just very competitive with pricing too. Since it is just me, I can kind of pass my savings on to the consumer. So people have been shocked when I give them the price, and I'm like, that's it. That's what I offer. So just very upfront. And
yeah, and I know when we were setting up to do the show, you even had someone in here, and she was talking about her technology. So
Yes.
a lot of the hearing aids are tied to technology. So you
Yeah.
were working with her on what apps she needed, and that was nice.
She called me up last night. I was like, hey, can I just stop in? I need like 5 minutes of your time. I said, absolutely. Come on in. Just needed some help, because everything is kind of with Bluetooth now. You don't have to have hearing aids with Bluetooth, but it just makes it
So much
just
easier.
just easier, because think of how often we have our phones in our hand. It's tied to us now, and it's like having a mini computer that you can make a little bit of adjustments right there. And then a lot of rechargeability too has been nice. So you can charge it in your car if you're on a trip or anything. So hearing aids have just come so much farther. And if you haven't seen them in a couple years, you'll be amazed at what they can do, and even how small and what they look like. They're just so discreet.
They are. I'm amazed at some of the people who say, I can't really hear you because can you speak up? I have my hearing aid, or they have to turn it up on their phone.
Yes.
But they're so tiny that you
wouldn't
don't even know that
know.
people have them in anymore.
And like you said, they're just on their phone. It looks like they're sending a text message or scrolling, and they're actually tuning into the environment that they're in. So it's just been so nice having those new technological features.
So nice. Okay, so back to keeping your hearing. I know that we think we're invincible when we're younger.
Oh, absolutely.
And then, like me with my eyes, I turned after 40, it was like, wow, I really need reading glasses because I can't see close.
Correct.
Same thing with your hearing. You can't get your hearing back, so you want to preserve your hearing as long as possible.
Correct. Yeah, once it's gone, it's gone. So there's no magic cure that I can say, okay, just take this, or do this and your hearing will come back in 2 weeks. It's gone. How we kind of talked about last time with going to concerts and everything like that, there is actually something called a temporary threshold shift, which is actually just a temporary hearing loss. And that is induced by just being around loud noises for so long. So did you ever go to a concert and you say, my ears are ringing, I hear some buzzing, I just feel so full? It's pretty common. I'm sure all of us have experienced it at least once in our life.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so you just know after a long night, your ears are ringing, and you wake up in the morning, you still feel that fullness, and you might not be able to hear as well. That's actually what we call a temporary threshold shift. But after a few of those, doing that over and over and over again, you're going to end up with permanent hearing loss.
So we're going to talk about tinnitus.
Yes. What it is it's sound without an external source. So think of, there's no TV on, there's no radio, there's nobody talking, but you hear something in your ears. So that could be a whistling, a buzzing, a banging. Some people would describe it as a frying or a sizzling sound. It's any sound that really just shouldn't be there. There's nothing causing it, but you're perceiving it.
Okay, so what is that cause from?
So that is from your hair cells. Think of those little pieces in your cochlea. They're just kind of overstimulated, and they were exposed to too much noise, and now they don't know what to do. They're trying to put off sounds, and there's damage there, essentially, what's happening. With a temporary threshold shift over a couple of days, it will go back to your normal hearing, but that doesn't mean you've already caused a little bit of damage. With tinnitus, sometimes that is a result of loud noises. That's the most common, but it could also be a side effect of medications or illnesses. So some people will say, they had a virus or something, and now they're left with this buzzing in their ear. They've also said medications have been known to cause it, but also I found too, this is more a temporary cause of it, but if you have fluid in your ears or like an ear infection and you're just clearing up from it, you might perceive a little bit of that ringing or buzzing too.
Okay, so how do you know if it's permanent or temporary?
It depends on the situations that you were involved in. If you say, oh, I've worked around noise my whole life, this has been going on for years, that's permanent. If you say, I just went to a concert 2 nights ago, but then I woke up and I have this, most likely it's temporary, but you just have to kind of wait and see. And that's why I always stress too, I think I've said it on every show, it's never too early to have a hearing test done. You get your baseline, and then if you do something like this where it's kind of an accident, we can say, oh yeah, you did have a little shift in your hearing. We can see it on paper. That's why it's just nice to have. It's never too early to say, I just need a hearing test.
That was my next question as far as age, because some people only think that when you're older, you can be losing your hearing.
Right.
So what are the parameters of when this usually happens?
40s or 50s,
Okay.
you know, that's
But it
when
can
you
happen
start.
to anybody.
Oh yeah, I have kids who, you know, damage their hearing, just like you're saying about your son. They shot a gun, they're just goofing around with their buddies and they say, yeah, we were at the range and we shot a gun, no hearing protection. I've had people who've lost their whole hearing on that side because of a silly split-second mistake. So
Wow, you can lose your hearing that quickly.
yeah, especially with a gunshot. If you shoot in someone like those bigger, you know, machines that really put off a blast, definitely. Same with fireworks. Think of the 4th of July right now coming up. You can never be too careful.
Okay, so make sure you're using some of that protection that we
Correct.
talked about with your
Yeah,
ears.
even if it's just those little disposable ones, they work.
So get a hearing test. It's better to have one that shows where your hearing is now, even if your hearing is normal.
Correct. And that way we can have it. And then, like you said, if something comes up or you get an illness, we have it and we can say, yes, you definitely have something going on, and it just helps guide us.
Tinnitus or tinnitus?
Correct.
Either one.
Yes,
All
either
right,
one.
Potato, potato. All right, when we come back, we'll talk to Dr. Shea DeNoia about some of our Q&A here on Ask the Audiologist. So stay with us right here on SSP TV. Hello everyone, your hearing is important and we hope you're learning a thing or two here on Ask the Audiologist. I'm here with Dr. Shea DeNoia of Ambrose Hearing, and we've been talking about ways to preserve the hearing that you have, because once it's gone, it's gone.
It is gone. Once it's
bye-bye.
That's it.
It
Yes.
doesn't matter what your age is. So
Correct.
if you're around loud noise at a younger age, you're going to lose that hearing more quickly. So we want to make sure that you're keeping your hearing as long as possible.
Yes.
We talked about tinnitus,
We did, yes.
the temporary loss or permanent loss of
Correct.
hearing. And now we're going to hit on some of the questions that you've been asking throughout the coming weeks or
Sure.
the prior weeks.
Yes.
And some of them are common. Some of them, you know, when you deal with the doctor's office, how long does it take to get in to see you, make an appointment?
Yeah, I get that a lot. They think, oh, it's going to be months, and that's just not the case. I can typically see you within 2 weeks, and if you were willing to go to either office, sometimes even just the next week. So pretty quick turnaround with that. I like to keep my schedule open for, you know, if someone says they have an emergency, they need me right away, especially if they say, oh, I woke up and I can't hear. That's an emergency situation. You want to get your hearing tested as soon as possible. So I always have appointments available.
Okay, and then once they're here, what is the time span? You're not going to be waiting in an office for 3 hours.
No. You typically, I mean, if I am running behind, maybe 10 minutes
Right.
is a long wait for me. I don't like to keep anybody waiting. So I kind of try to keep my schedule going. And then once you're here and sitting down with me like we are right now, 30 minutes in
Okay.
and out to get the hearing tested and get a little background information. And then depending on what you need, you'd have follow-up appointments.
Right. And just another one, it's great to look young. You look like you're in your 20s.
Oh, yes.
But,
yes.
but really, we know that you have experience and that
do,
you might
yeah.
look young, but you come with a lot of maturity.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I went to school for 8 years, so right there tells you that I'm definitely older than I look. So,
How long have you been practicing?
5 years this May out on my own. So,
Very nice.
yeah.
Very good. All right, so another question. How do I know if I need a hearing aid?
Right. So I get that a lot too. And there's just certain signs that you need to look out for. So one of the most common, and I know you've heard this too, everybody's mumbling. It's not me. They'll tell me this all the time. I know I can hear. My wife mumbles, or, you know, my son just doesn't look at me when they're speaking. If you keep using this pattern over and over, chances are it's you, it's not them.
Kids do mumble though.
Kids do mumble. And the wife excuse, I get that all the time. They're just saying, I can't hear my wife. She's yelling at me. I turn into a marriage counselor then. But the good news for the gentleman is that high frequency hearing loss is usually the first sign of a hearing loss and what is first happening. So it is true they can't hear their wives.
All right, well, no, don't be trying that at home if you can hear your wives.
Correct.
We don't want to be in trouble for any marital fights at home over hearing.
Another couple of signs are too, like you're constantly asking for repetition, or you just answer off topic, like you're talking about one thing and then all of a sudden they're saying completely wrong, and that can actually be pretty dangerous. Think if you go to a doctor's office and they're telling you to take your medicine 3 times a day and they said, no, I heard, it's only once. That happens. Or even I have a lot of elderly that live alone and they can't hear smoke detectors or the fire alarm, telephone, anything that's warning signals, doorbell.
The volume on the TV is higher and higher.
That's another good one. Yeah, the TV is just blasting. I have patients that say, I went to visit my mom and the TV, you could hear it next door. You should probably call for a hearing test, definitely.
Avoid social situations that you usually participate in?
Yeah, so the next thing that happens is they say, I go to bingo every Thursday night, but why go? I can't hear the numbers being called. I can't talk to my best friend that's sitting right next to me. I'm embarrassed because I'm asking her, what number did they call? Or, I go to a group of ladies for a book club and I don't want to go anymore because I answered the wrong answer last time and it was embarrassing to me. So just if you're picking up on your loved ones just saying, I'll stay home today, and you're like, they're very social, it might be a good idea to just say, hey, let's go try to see if something is going on.
Sometimes people are even afraid to worry about their health because healthcare has gotten so expensive.
It has, and that's the thing too. I try to keep, even if you don't have insurance, I try to keep it around $30 to $40 just for like a consultation or anything like that. That way it's nothing too crazy. Even cleanings I keep pretty reasonable. There are some, once you get on Medicare, there's Medicare Advantage plans, but sometimes the premium that you're paying is so much more. So you really have to do your math and be good with that to see what I'm going to be using, kind of a cost benefit ratio, because sometimes just asking and saying I don't have insurance, we can work with you a little bit better that way.
Nice.
I do accept all major insurance plans and like the third party insurances too. So I'm willing to work with whatever you have.
Very nice. Some commonly asked questions about hours. Are you by appointment only?
Yeah, still by appointment only, but like I said, that doesn't mean that I'm not flexible, but it's just easier to do it with the 2 offices by appointment only.
Where is the office located in Pottsville?
In Pottsville, it's right off of 61. A lot of people know the old Good Sam Hospital down there, so I always say if you take that street and you get to there, you went too far. So I'm on East Norwegian Street, which is still an active hospital. It's Lehigh Valley now.
Very good.
So right in that area.
And obviously the Laurel Mall you're located right next to, is it GNC?
GNC, and a lot of people know Bath and Body Works and the pet store. So right in that wing there. So it's very easy
handicapped accessible.
Oh yeah, you could take from the Boscov's underground, like the parking lot there, come up the steps or the elevator, and then just a short distance down there.
Very good. Your phone?
Yeah, it's 570-622-1435. I also have a website, ambrosehearing.com, and 2 social media pages, Instagram and Facebook.
Very good. So check out Ambrose Hearing. Take care of your hearing. Preserve it as much as possible. But then when you need help, please get your hearing checked.
Yes, definitely. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone. And even if you're unsure and just have a few questions for me, I have no problem answering them for you.
Very good. And join us next time right here on Ask the Audiologist here on SSP TV.